Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dakota's Political Circle. And today we are talking. This is my immediate reaction for the ABC debate of Trump versus Harris. And my reaction is going to be really interesting because I watched the entire debate, and it was unlike other debates I have seen. This debate was very, very, very biased towards Kamala Harris. I didn't expect this debate to be that biased. I expected it to be at least a little bit more moderate, but the debate in itself felt like that Trump was pressured on every single issue when it came to the moderators, but anytime it came to Kamala Harris, and Trump's actually pointed it out in the actual debate, and the moderators basically would not pressure Harris on anything. So it felt like a very biased debate, but it's really interesting because the CNN instant poll that usually comes out, like the flash poll, usually comes out afterwards, and almost every single time Trump usually loses it no matter what. The only one I believe he actually won was the CNN debate that Biden did horrendously about. And it's really interesting. So right here is the instant poll that actually came out. So Kamala Harris 63% to Donald Trump's 37%. So it's really interesting to see that because so Trump was debating like three people on the stage. He was debating the moderators and Kamala Harris, and that's exactly how it looked. And it's interesting because a 63% to 37% is not that bad for Trump. For a CNN instant poll, that is not that bad. And for a poll that happened at a debate that really had the moderators really against Trump, it really shows that Trump did a pretty good job at a debate like this. And still in a CNN poll, you get a 63% to 37. That is a very good polling for Trump in a scenario where it wasn't a very fair debate. And to even show you right here, you look right here. This person said 60 to 40 when they polled Hillary. She was winning every debate, nearly 80 to 20. I would say that's pretty accurate. It's probably more like a 70 to 30. But it is really interesting because Hillary did poll really, really well against Trump. Hillary was actually a good debater, unlike Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was more about bashing than actual debating during this debate. And Hillary would win about like 80 to 70% of the debates. Like that's the margin she would usually win by. So Trump performing this well against Harris, and Harris was actually a really bad debater, as well as the moderators favoring her. I would say this is a pretty good advantage for Trump. And remember, Trump beat Hillary in the election, so if he does this well against Kamala, and he can actually win one of the debates, it's a really big advantage for Trump in this scenario. And also remember, the election of 2020 was close, and they said that Biden would demolish Trump in those debates. So, I mean, these debates really don't matter in the end, but they do help at least a little bit for the candidates, but it doesn't really help dramatically. Then the show right here, this one I actually believe more. So Trafalgar actually came out with a poll who won the debate, and it was 55 Harris, 43 Trump. I think this one's more accurate. Remember, Trafalgar is a really, really accurate pollster, and every one of the Democrats obviously are saying Trafalgar. If Trafalgar's saying this, it was a blowout. If Trafalgar's saying that, it was a blowout because Trafalgar's right leaning. Remember, Trafalgar is a massive, massive pollster. That is a very good pollster for in general. Like it's a very accurate pollster. So if you have Trafalgar saying Harris only won by 55%, I would say that's pretty accurate. And also, seeing how close that is with a very biased, with very biased moderators, I think that's a pretty good showing for Trump. And I also think that's more accurate than the CNN polling. And then the show right here, here's some other pollings that happened. So Newsmax did a poll. They had 93% to 6% of Harris. Obviously, Newsmax is a very right leaning company. I mean, very right leaning news source. So I would say that this isn't this isn't very accurate. But I would say this is really interesting to look at because even on Newsmax, some people, if you would believe some of the other polls, you would think that this poll would at least be a little bit closer. But I do think it's really interesting to see something like that. Then you have like C-SPAN putting where Trump's above by Kamala. And this is obviously a Twitter poll, but it's still interesting. Insider Paper had Trump above. Then you got Leading Report having Trump above. I think C-SPAN's probably the most accurate out of these if you go by Twitter polls. So seeing Trump above by 64%, I would say the debate was more of like a 50-50, mainly because the issues actually weren't talked about that mattered. It was more of bashing than anything, especially by the moderators. It didn't really feel like a debate, in my opinion. It felt more like the moderators were hating on Trump and supporting Kamala Harris, but not bringing up the issues that mattered, like bringing up immigration and also bringing up the economy. Those are the two biggest subjects that the American people actually care about. That's the big reason I think this debate really didn't matter in the end. And then you got right here, here's another a poll that happened. And they had 92% to Harris's 4. This was a Fox poll, but it is still interesting to see here. And then right here, I wanted to show a couple of things. I wanted to show you basically what some of the stuff that happened at the debate. So this is on my Twitter, so you see some of the stuff I said. So it's really interesting because they actually shook hands, and I can't show the actual video because they already took it down. But they did actually end up shaking hands at the debate, which is very, very interesting because obviously Trump and Biden never shook hands, period. And I think the last time Trump even shook hands with a candidate on the other side was actually Hillary Clinton. So that's just really interesting to see. And then you got, here's this. I was saying about how they talked about they kept a Trump tariff under the Biden administration's, and they like the Biden administration kept a Trump tariff on China, and Kamala Harris couldn't respond on why they did that. And the moderators kind of just pushed it off and didn't want to talk about it, which was very absurd. And and I was saying how Trump's doing very much as a good debater. At the same time, he was doing iffy, and in some instances, I guess you could say. And then this was a Twitter friend of mine. He was calling Trump the China lover, LOL. And yeah, she was saying that Trump was a China lover, which is very funny because you keep a Trump tariff in your administration, but then you say Trump's bad on China, but at the same time you're taking his own tariff that he implemented and basically in a way saying it's a good thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I was saying Trump is right on the issue of abortion, that abortion has tore this country apart. Bringing it back to the states was the right thing to do. The main reason I say that is because bringing it back to the states doesn't make it completely illegal. Bringing it back to the states means your state gets to decide how it goes. I think that's how abortion should be in general. It makes the most sense because abortion is a big issue in this country, and bringing it back to the states makes it a big advantage because your state could vote on abortion and decide how you want it to decide. And instead of making it a national thing, just make it about the states. It's just an obvious subject that should be about that. And also, Trump was making fun of Biden, saying her boss, if you call him that, he spends most of his time as a bee. So Trump was pretty much cooking Biden and Kamala during this debate. And then there's some more stuff here. Yeah, he was talking about immigration. This was interesting. So they didn't ask Kamala about the 7 to 9 month abortions. They were talking about a national abortion ban, and Trump was bringing up the 7 to 9 month abortions and how Kamala feels about that. And they didn't want to bring it up to her at all. So it was very biased. And I was also saying, I was criticizing Trump for this. So Trump didn't want to say he would veto a national abortion ban. That's something he really needs to say because it would show he wouldn't be complacent in that issue. I think that's the one thing he really needed to do, which he didn't do, and that's what J.D. Vance said, but he denied basically what J.D. Vance said. I didn't think that was a good thing. Yeah, I was also saying APC moderators are debating Trump. And this was a good takedown Trump did. I'll actually show you the video right here. Let me show you the video.
Millions and millions and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21, That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, with policy.
Yeah, mainly that's what he was talking about. He was talking about, like, basically how Kamala is a Marxist and how she basically doesn't know what she's doing.
Out the window, she's going to my philosophy now. In fact,
yeah, and also she's taking a lot of stuff from Trump in general, which is a very accurate thing. And he mentioned about the MAGA head. That was hilarious. And then I know Trump was saying he like came up with this awesome thing saying I'm talking. Kamala said that Trump would terminate the Constitution, it's very inaccurate. That is very inaccurate. She's claiming stuff that is just so inaccurate. And to show right here, the moderator tries to fact check Trump, and it blows up in his face. And I want to show you this real quick. This just shows how biased they were.
Here you bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying
manager.
their dog was eaten by...
Yeah, I know people are making fun of him saying the dog joke, but you got to understand if people are actually claiming that, and the city manager is just trying to deny that, it's kind of odd to see like Kamala and the moderators just brush that off and laugh about it, even though not taking it seriously like how Trump did. It's just crazy. And then Trump was making fun of Biden, saying you'll get him out of bed and you'll wake him up at 3. And also, this was really funny as well, just to see what he did here.
14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out.
Yeah, it's funny. That's actually from the Tulsi debate, if you remember that. He wanted to bring that up because it's funny because she always interrupts people. And because she can't at this debate, Trump wanted to bring something like that up, which was hilarious. I even showed some stuff right here that he talked about. There's not too much else that they talked about here. Trump asked about the Ukraine war. This was a really interesting thing to see right here.
Would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers.
Exactly what Trump needed to say there. Exactly what he needed to say, specifically because they're trying to show a rhetoric that he supports Ukraine in this war or supports Russia in this war, and he needs to be neutral about it. And that is the perfect thing you should say, especially about that topic. So there's a lot of things that he did really well. And then she was also, Kamala was trying to bring up the John McCain topic, which was very absurd. I mean, he's not even around anymore. It's just pretty pathetic. There's not really much else, but I did see some memes and stuff about how she was highly favored because of the bias in this debate itself. But just to show some other things as well before I say my final thoughts on this debate in general. To show you right here, here's Polymarket, and obviously a lot of people were expecting Trump to go down in Polymarket, which he did, but he actually still keeps the lead no matter what. He has 50 to 49% over Kamala Harris. So still, even though Trump he didn't underperform in the debate, but he did obviously go down in the actual betting markets. But obviously he didn't go under. That's the best thing here to look at. I do think this debate really doesn't matter in the end, even if in some way Kamala Harris did win this debate. In the end, it really doesn't matter because in the end, the American people are really not going to care about this debate because the issues that really mattered were not even talked about. It felt more like a liberal attacking than an actual debate. That's exactly what it felt like. And to show you right here, here's the RCP average as of right now. You got a 1.1 Harris lead. Do I really think Harris is going to get any bump from this? I really don't think so. I think maybe a +2, but I just don't see her really getting a bump from just this debate because the big issues weren't talked about. The issues that matter were just not talked about whatsoever. So when you have Kamala Harris, obviously not talking about the issues that matter, not talking about policy, it's a really big issue, and that's probably why she's wanting another debate as of right now. So if I was Trump, I wouldn't accept another debate unless it's on either Fox or maybe if you do a Fox and CNN. That's what I would accept. If you did a Fox and CNN debate, I think that's a good middle ground you got right there. Because CNN is a good place to debate. Because I mean, look at the Joe Biden debate, and then you got Fox, which could favor Trump just like ABC did. So I'm just like ABC did to Kamala. So I think that would be the best advantage for Trump if you can get a Fox and CNN debate. I think that's best case scenario for Trump, that he can show his policy and talk about how bad Kamala's policy is, and that she doesn't even want to talk about it. He could talk about it in the CNN, and then in the Fox debate, he can get his bias, I guess you could say, or even no bias whatsoever, and you could still crush her on her issues. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, this debate in general, I do think Trump overall won. But if you do look at like how they were pushing him and stuff, that's the main reason I say Trump wins this debate. The moderators, Kamala Harris, kept pushing Trump and pushing Trump. It wasn't really about the debate itself. It more or less felt like a schoolyard bullying thing, like how you push your rhetoric and you don't want to hear the other person's rhetoric. That's how I felt like this debate was. Now, middle ground Americans, maybe they think Kamala won the debate, but at the same time, their issues they wanted answered were not answered. So I think this debate is really just a stalemate, and nobody really won, at least based on a normal voter standpoint. But on my standpoint, I would say Trump won the debate overall, but at the same time, he won the debate overall, but at the same time, he just kept getting pushed on issues because of the moderators. So in my opinion, I think Trump won, but at the same time, if you were an average voter, I would probably say you really didn't support anyone in this debate because basically, they didn't talk about the issues that matter. That's the big point I got to say here. I think the issues that mattered were not talked about. Even though I think Trump won the debate, I just don't think the issues that people really, really cared about were even talked about. So this debate just feels like nothing. So I think there won't be really a bump at all for Harris, and I think the polls will stay stagnant until probably the next debate, or maybe Trump goes and gets in the lead. I mean, he has been slowly creeping up on Harris. You never know what's going to happen. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's all I'm going to cover on this debate. I just wanted to talk about my feelings on it. I wanted to cover the debate as well and what happened in the debate and stuff like that. This video is pretty long, so I apologize for that, but I really wanted to cover every aspect, or the majority of the aspects I wanted to talk about. But let me know in the comments who you think won the debate. In my opinion, I think Trump won the debate, but mainly because of the rhetoric. But at the same time, as a medium voter, I think that no one probably won the debate in their opinion. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm not sure when my next video will be out, other than, I guess, on the 15th and 16th when my prediction videos usually come out. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.